My name is Hans Ulrich Obrist. I'm the artistic director of the Serpentine Galleries in London. I'm a curator and a writer. Emerson says nothing great has ever been achieved without enthusiasm. So I think it's very important that we think now about a longer-term future. And we, of course, live in a moment which is a very difficult moment because, as Edouard Glissant described so beautifully, the writer from Martinique, in his writings on archipelago, on mondialité, on creolization, he described that we live in an age of globalization, and it is certainly not the first time the planet experiences globalization. There have been previous chapters, the Roman Empire and so on. However, this is certainly the most extreme, and if not maybe also the most violent moment of globalization, fueled by technology. So Glissant described that, of course, this leads to many homogenizing forces. It leads to the disappearance of many differences. It leads to the disappearance of languages. My Instagram is devoted to saving handwriting and calligraphy and doodling, but it also leads, of course, to the disappearance of species. Elizabeth Colbert says we are living, in the period of sixth mass extinction. We are in the middle of this sixth mass extinction, where I'm threatened by the extinction of our own species. So all of this, of course, means that we need to resist the homogenizing forces of globalization, find another form of global dialogue. But Glissant early on understood that actually that his counter-reaction to this homogenizing globalization might be as dangerous because it will lead to new forms of localism, to new forms of nationalism, to new forms of separatism, to new forms of racism, and to new forms of lack of tolerance, which of course all has to be resisted. So he said, these are these two extremes, and we need to find a way, he called it mondialité, of a global dialogue which is not, annihilating differences, but a global dialogue which is respectful of, differences, where we also learn from each other. He, of course, always describes this condition of being on an island. He says the archipelago condition is a condition for the 21st century. He says, continents are more homogenizing. The archipelago is welcoming and sheltering. Now, it's interesting, him being from Martinique, he says it's in dialogue with other islands around him that his identity became actually richer and more diverse. He talks about creolization of language. And that means, that this fear that we might lose our identity in dialogue with the other is completely unjustified. It is actually quite the opposite. In dialogue with the other, our identity becomes richer. And that, I think, seems to be a very important motto, for the 21st century.